of beta blockers on heart attack patients, and the results were really surprising. For the last 40 years, 80% of heart attack patients are prescribed a beta blocker upon release from the hospital from a heart attack. So, if you survive a heart attack when you leave the hospital, chances are you're going to get a beta blocker as part of your prescription routine. The REBOOT trial separated over 8,000 patients into two pools, where one is given the normal course of treatment, including the beta blockers, and the other is given a placebo. What they found, and this is stunning to me, what they found is no difference in outcomes for men for the intervention arm versus the placebo, and the women fared worse. So results showed women treated with beta blockers had a 2.7% higher absolute risk of mortality compared to those not treated with beta blockers during the 3.7 years of follow-up from the study. So you were 2.7% more likely to die if you were a woman taking a beta blocker than if you took nothing. Beta blockers can also have serious side effects such as fatigue, low heart rate, loss of sexual function. So, for 40 years, we've been giving pills to heart attack patients that did not improve their situation if they were men, made things worse if they were women, and sometimes had life changing side effects. But can you guess the real kicker to all of this? The reason why this information was even found. It's buried deep in the results, but now every time I come across one of these studies that shows a certain pill doesn't work, it's the first thing I look for, and I usually find it. Here's the quote: "Reboot was conducted without pharmaceutical industry funding." So the studies that cause these pills to be given out like candy to heart attack patients were conducted with pharmaceutical funding, but the one that showed them to be useless was conducted without pharmaceutical funding. So once again, we have to deal with the fact that when the companies that make the drugs do the studies, we end up taking more pills than we should, sometimes for decades, and almost every time with some serious side effects. But when disinterested third parties do the studies, the results are often that the pills are useless. If you need more examples of this, you can look at virtually any psychiatric drug that has ever been invented. There's plenty of studies that show that antidepressants don't work, that SSRIs make you more violent. In fact, I can't think of a single school shooter in the last 20, 30 years that wasn't on an SSRI. Maybe you can correct me on that. I'd like to know. But as far as I know, every school shooter that I've ever heard of has been on an SSRI. So let me say this before I end this. No one that's taking a beta blocker should take this video as a reason to stop the beta blocker. If you want to get off the beta blocker, you should consult with your doctor. I am not a doctor. Nothing that I say should be given as medical advice. However, I will end this video with this. You need to remember that no one makes money off of you if you are healthy, and no one makes money off of you if you are dead. But if they can get you sick and keep you sick, you are a cash cow forever. Thanks for watching. This has been Aaron Farmer with MySugarFreeJourney.com.